Oh god. How much further do we need to go?
We're getting close. I can feel it. I never thought we'd get that close to catching this rascal. Did you bring a grenade?
Well, yeah, but it has feelings too. Maybe we shouldn't kill it. There's gotta be another way. I think we could do this without violence, and I made a song just for you, and it goes like this.
Can we maybe hold off on the music?
Yeah. So why do you want to hunt this thing again?
What do you mean this was your idea?
Oh, I came out here because I had a song for you prepared.
No. This whole operation was your idea. That's why I'm here.
No, I came here because of the song. You came here because you wanted to fight a wolf.
No, what are you talking about? No, I mean, listen, it's not like I have a problem with wolves.
Oh boy, this one was a shock. When setting out to watch Belle, I thought this would be an easy review for us to write. We could make a preaching to the choir type video and be on with our day. We were wrong.
So, Belle's a film set in the not-so-distant sci-fi future where this weird alien man got his wish and everyone lives in a full-dive VR world. Not that that's really that much different from what we're doing right now anyway.
Our protagonist, Suzu, used to sing a lot with her mom before the river got her. Now she has a post-traumatic condition where she can't fully sing. But in the cyberverse, she can, and thus kicks off our story of tragedy and...
Hold on.
Yeah, what's up?
Isn't this supposed to be inspired by Beauty and the Beast?
No, yeah, I'm getting to that.
This seems kind of important to mention in the spoiler-free section of the video.
Well, I mean, the inspiration from Beauty and the Beast is sparse enough that this is a totally different experience. And by extension, anyone describing Belle as Japanese Beauty and the Beast is doing so incorrectly. That's not as important for our review right now. Just know that if you see someone comparing the two directly, they're making a mistake.
What you should know before you watch, though, is that the different aspects of the film vary wildly in quality, so if you're just here for the good music, you're in good hands. But that said, it's not actually a musical, so oftentimes the soundtrack does take a backseat.
And as for everything else, it's pretty sometimes. Listen, it isn't great, which means that now we have to get out our scalpel and dig around in there to figure out why you were like this.
Before spoilers, some formalities again. We will not be recounting the plot, as by proceeding we assume you have seen the movie. The following will be spoiled. Belle. Our score that we gave the film was a 4 out of 10. Alright, spoiler time. Let's go.
Let's start out positive. As mentioned before, the music is the best part, by a lot. Just penning the earlier line about how this isn't a musical left me daydreaming of a world in which it actually was. This is evident, it's strongest, in the opener track with Millennium Parade and Kaho Nakamura bringing out the best in each other on You.
The rest of the OST is also great, which is why it's kind of painful for us to admit that we're just not musically literate enough to dissect it for you. You should find someone smarter than us to do that.
In this instance specifically, I would be curious to find out which came first, the music or the animation, because whoever's decision it was to set this song with its peppy snares to Belle, physically and otherwise, parading around in the metaverse, it's an awesome starter, and it sets a very high bar to clear.
Well, suffice to say, the rest doesn't clear that bar, and in fact, there's a whole laundry list of issues coming up. Despite being in CG land, I generally think the animation and art design go over well. Notably, however, there seems to be something of a bitrate problem. I don't really know how to talk about this, since neither of us had seen anything like it in anime before, and we were watching it on a hard copy, so it's not like it was streaming issues. I don't know. Your mileage may vary, I guess.
Sans that, the art is decent. Outside the Matrix, you get some pretty good visuals, and that's not surprising given the rest of Studio Chizu's work. It has some good framing and colors. That's kind of it. And I would talk about the art in more detail, but I don't really feel strongly either way about it. It can be visually noisy sometimes. Usually that's on purpose, because you're trying to make a distinction between the HoloLive universe and Meat Space. But it never really commits to anything visually interesting. Like, none of the imagery in this film is going to stick with me after this.
Speaking of commitment issues, there's not really much of a thematic through line with the film. In the beginning, it hints at being about loss, and then about anonymity and privacy online, and then about social acceptance. but none of that ever really gets fleshed out. And this is a symptom of what we see as the most fundamental and pervasive issue, the one we'll be talking about for most of this review. Poor writing.
Starting with the lack of exposition. Like, okay, it's VR chat, but the avatars are representational of the characters in some way. So, Suzu can sing, and the wolf has some...
Hold on.
Yeah?
The wiki says dragon.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon, I guess, has bruises on him, but this raises some questions.
Like, why does this Stretch Armstrong-looking motherfucker have a doxing laser? Is he like a moderator? A cop? Just a dick? And because all this is supposed to be representative, what is him having a doxing laser supposed to tell us about him as a person? Well, nothing, because he never shows up.
Also, what is his motivation to do this? Like, what does revealing Suzu's identity give to him? Also, why are they hunting the beast?
Dragon.
Why are they hunting the dragon in the first place? I'd like to use Beauty and the Beast to illustrate what I'm talking about here. Not comparing the two, just illustrating.
The central conflict of Beauty and the Beast is relatively easy to grasp. The Beast is an arrogant lord being punished for his lack of empathy. Belle is his gateway into learning to care about people, being the kind and gentle person that she is. And Gaston, being jealous of their relationship, sees the Beast's physical form as an excuse to kill him.
Boom! Conflict established. Now everyone's on the same page on what the stakes are. Yet, it seems as Belle forgot to do this. The dragon enters stage right just being chased. The audience has no explanation on why we're chasing him. We just are. There's no sort of narrative thrust here. And even the in-group, out-group thing of humanity versus a beast is gone, because everybody in this universe looks like an overbaked D&D OC.
Also, just a note, why is being unveiled a threat to Suzu? Like, it would be embarrassing, I guess. I think a character makes a remark something along the lines of, if people knew who you were, they'd stop listening to you. Several objections. Like, Rail and Nano were two Japanese artists who had successful music careers while concealing their face and identity, and still have those careers after revealing themselves. These kinds of questions just leave a disconnect with the audience. The stakes are just too fuzzy to empathize with.
And now, the act structure. Even among people that like the film, we're all kind of in agreement that the third act is where it starts to unravel and come apart. This is when the wolf,
Dragon,
right, is revealed to be a 14-year-old abuse victim, and the pattern colors on his cloak to be bruises. Did I mention that this is the first time that we're seeing this character? Like, an hour into the film?
Actually, according to this, you can see him in a video montage.
Get the fuck out! Jesus. Okay, finally. Oh my god. And this revelation is a strange one, because outside of the events of Phantasy Star Online 2, we were actually introduced to Suzu's real-life friends. But as the plot pivots to be about this random kid in Tokyo, these previously important characters take a back seat.
Which leads to the end of the film, where none of these characters have actually been given the time and attention that they need to actually go anywhere. And speaking of the end of the film, oh boy.
So, Suzu gets shot by Mega Man and sings, and everything's all hunky-dory. They found out where the kid is located, and now they just have to call the police.
No.
They don't actually call the police.
No.
No one does. Even though they have recordings. So what do they do?
They go to Tokyo and stand between them and stop a fight.
Right, yeah, but then they call the police afterwards.
No, then credits roll.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this sucks. Why not actually resolve the conflict? Like, yeah, she can sing again, I guess, but that's a distant second on the priority list at this point.
Lastly, I know we said directly comparing this to Beauty and the Beast was a mistake, but I'd like to close out with one, and I think this one holds water. While generally the influence on Belle is kept at an arm's length, there is one scene that is undeniably a direct adaptation, and that is the attempted mimicry of the masterful ballroom scene. I know if you're taking inspiration from the 1991 classic, you definitely want to take note of its most iconic scene, but man, it doesn't hold up.
It's the strangest thing to phone in a sequence like this that's so clearly intentional, so flawless in its execution, that it leaves me wondering what you got from the scene in the first place? Or, frankly, what inspired you about the Disney film at all at this point in the review?
This is the cinematic equivalent of reference humor, relying on the audience recognizing the scene over actually respecting it or putting your own twist on it.
So, to conclude, we don't think Belle is very good, but it might have been enjoyable to you, and I see how you get there. The music is incredible, the art direction is generally good, it just requires that maybe you wave some writing nuance away, and if that kind of thing doesn't bug you, I see how you come out of this film happy.
To us, however, it just feels sloppy, phoned in, and the great soundtrack just can't carry the weight of everything else. Maybe just listen to the soundtrack instead.